We are officially now live with the Fireside chat. So it's been sort of on and off the last month or so. I know we had so we took Thanksgiving off, and I believe I canceled not the one before that, but the one before that. I remember a pretty recent cancellation anyway, and it's gonna stay a little bit weird because I'm moving up next week's Fireside chat by an hour. It's not like a permanent change for Firesides. It's just that particular one. I have to leave, so I'm moving up early to make sure we can do it. But other than that, yeah, this is my first stream from a new computer, so it should be. It won't really affect Fireside chats, I guess, but I'm going to be trying to stream gaming a lot more myself, since this computer can do that pretty well. Other than that, as far as new stuff since the last Fireside, we've got like 2 weeks to cover. I'm trying to think. I think we already went over, but Hell's Raiders is out for con, new warband, and then most recent one, Frigg's Fate Weavers, which I think I've already been pretty excited about how much chat has been on in their warband chat channel, everything like that. Seems like everyone's pretty passionate about it, so that's awesome. So yeah, we're at now. Well, Hell's was traded for Billias in a way, so we're at 7 warbands now. So I think it's pretty good. I know we were talking in the all thing about like the number of members in warbands and how we want to kind of get them down to smaller groups, or at least I think a lot of people do. I think that'd be pretty cool, and yeah, I think that's something we're going to try to shoot for. But the limiting factor, as was brought up in the all thing, is probably the number of officers we have. So hopefully, if anybody like wants to be an officer, and it's not like totally against the rule. I mean, you can like talk to one of your officers and say like, hey, what can I do to like, you know, get promoted or kind of prove myself or something like that, because we definitely need more officers, because we're looking to make warbands more smaller units so everyone can get to know each other, and the Huskarls can manage them better and stuff like that. So yeah, if you want to be an officer, there's definitely paths open, and the Scribes Guild too. I made an announcement like last night, but we are still looking for people. We are 2 people right now, and I'm hoping to get at least 4 or 5, maybe more. The application is you just need a piece of writing, preferably WA related, but doesn't have to be. It can be something you already wrote. It can be something you wrote 5 years ago. Anything. And then, yeah, you just send that in. And I don't want to say we're accepting literally everybody, but I'm definitely looking for people. So if you are interested, you can probably join. And then what we're looking at doing, so the main reason it was founded was for warband codexes, so that if a warband wants, they can hire one of the scribes from the Scribes Guild to write their codex for them and make it all cool and fancy and fun and exciting and fantastical. And also, we've been brainstorming a bit. Pados had some really cool ideas, some stuff about... we'll see what we do. It depends on how many people we have. There's definitely a lot more the Scribes Guild could be doing in terms of, like, the codex, not warband codexes, but the codex of the Aesir on Uko, which is also on the forums, and like updating entries and writing like more long form ones, which is something I've wanted to do for a while. Like Pato was talking about, because he's got talking about the Ragnarok at the end of this Fireside, and you know, he's talking to me a lot because I know the sources for the Ragnarok are not great. Like the history of the clans is there. There's even like Solite edited it for spelling and grammar and everything, but even then it's still a little bit like disjointed. Like if you just like sat down and said like, oh, I want to know about the Ragnarok, there's not really one piece of writing you could just read, or something like a big article or something on it. I think that's a super good idea, and it'd be nice to have articles on significant events like that and stuff. I'm thinking like, rather than making the codex entries really long, because I kind of want the codex entries to be sort of like an encyclopedia and sort of easy, more summaries, that it would actually be a separate thing. Maybe we just put them in the new edda or something, like articles or something about WA events that would be more long form. But I'm pretty excited about that. And yeah, it's another thing that if you want to join the Scribes Guild, join it, because we need more people, and then we can do more cool stuff like that. Other than that, I'm trying to think if we've got much going on. I know Anarian's StarCraft tournament still going on. They're trying to schedule matches, so that should be happening now or in the near future. Calendar for December will probably be out on December 1st. The way I've been doing it is I add a few extra days in the calendar, like a few days of December on the November calendar. And it's for kind of a silly reason. It's because when I make the calendar, I'm looking at my calendar on Windows, and it refuses to stay on December if it's not December. So I have to constantly keep clicking it every time. I'm like editing an event, so if I make it on December 1st, then I don't have to do anything, and it's much, much easier. And it shouldn't really interrupt anything, because like I said, the first few days of December are on the November calendar. So
Who needs a physical calendar?
Yeah. But yeah, it will be out December 1st.
Right, let's go.
Sexy images of WA officers.
Also, I would like to say about
Gosh.
about the Scribes Guild and the Artisans Guild.
Mhm.
You know, like a lot of the art and writing that's made for us doesn't go like, under the wraps, or it doesn't like get lost to time. Most of our art and our writings are still very much like, very well archived and are still around, available to everyone. And just because like you did a little bit of art or something like that, a lot of, or not a lot of, but one person I think of in particular who was immortalized just for his art was Eldon Volunder Sindar, who was made in Einarjar just for his art. And so, if that's something that you like to do a lot, that's something that we have always greatly appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the other one is Scaldi, who is called the Kinslayer, for rooting out basically everyone in House Thief who had rebelled against WA. But he was also very famous for his art, so there's definitely avenues for that. And yeah, I mean, if you look on the Fireside chat right now, it's about 99% stuff that Eldon, aka Volinder, made being shown on there. So it's definitely really cool. It's like, I think there's a lot of cool aspects about WA, like the history and the stories and the lore and everything and houses and the ranks. But one of the things that I think really brings it to life and sets it apart and makes it cool is when you see art related to it. Like seeing stuff like Sanctifico actually drawn, all that I think is really cool.
Yeah, and how can we talk about art without giving a quick shout out to our #1 artist, Llamas Rothling? 2 clappers for him.
Hey.
The copyright dealer.
Forgive my ignorance, but why is he our #1 artist?
Who else is doing it?
Exactly.
I have been very impressed with it. I'm trying to remember everything that Llamas has done. I remember the flag, some stuff for the codexes. It's all look super cool. I think it's awesome.
Really?
3 out of the 7 codexes, I think.
And if you hit the pinned things for announcements, you also see his very long members that he recently did. Or WA roster.
That's right. That was awesome as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Props, dude.
Yeah, bro, I'm looking out for you. Don't worry.
I don't necessarily see who actually does these. I mean, I would definitely look into these more if I knew what was going on or when it was posted, or I don't always hang in the art channel. But if we do decide to like adopt something for like official purposes, that would be cool to like announce that something had been, what I mean, like, I don't want to say commissioned, but I mean had been adopted or accepted, or because like I'm missing some of these cool pieces.
I think I made an announcement for the member.
There's also an archive post for most of them.
Yeah. Or you can check the for the codexes. Those are all on the forums. I guess we don't really make announcements when there's a new codex entry, but some cool stuff on there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they counted as codex entry since they're supposed to be the codex themselves, or what the physical embodiment of what the codex would look like.
At this point, there's been like no codex entries, so I'm kind of willing to count anything.
Well, Pato tried. Shout out to Pato for the first one to write a story.
Yeah, sorry, I exaggerate. There have been codex entries, but I think looking at the whole, a lot of the warbands have not been doing many. So I am pretty happy with any contributions at all. I think it's pretty awesome.
We have a bard's.
Nice.
Can you have people making music?
Because you keep unmuting yourself too early when you talk. I said, do we have a Bards Guild?
No, I would put that with the Artisans Guild. I think I don't know what the exact description is in the handbook, but in my mind, the Artisans Guild is like everything creative, like anything you can compose or create or draw or anything
Well,
like that.
Honestly, with how the happy birthday singing went the other day, I don't want bards from any of you.
No, that's why we need the Bards Guild. We need to train.
You got it.
No one here
Bard doesn't-
qualifies.
Bard doesn't
The problem
necessarily
is-
mean that he is a singer. He can also play the slide whistle.
Singing is impossible on the
Is-
internet.
With a Bard's Guild, Vest, while there is a lot of room for improvement, usually you have to have something there in order to actually build up from it.
We have Ricky.
Who's Ricky?
Ricky.
We
Levy.
have
Yeah.
people, but do we have singers? That is the question.
I'm not sure. I'm open to a Bards Guild.
Perhaps we do.
Ooh, perhaps we do. Who was that?
I mean, I sing. I haven't like very performative for a while, but besides karaoke, but I was in musicals and all that.
Hey, so that's 2 members of the Bards Guild. So if there's interest, I'm open to it.
Okay.
But yeah, at present I kind of originally thought of the Artisans Guild as like everything including writing, and now there's a Scribes Guild which is just like solely writing. So it's kind of the, we could pull out more stuff from the Artisans Guild, like pulling out the music aspect for a Bards Guild or something like that is definitely an option.
Vest, don't you do music?
I do, yeah.
So that would make 3 members.
Hey, ranks are growing.
Was the first member that you're counting Ricky? Because
Yeah.
I said I
Yes.
can do that a bit.
Hey, all right.
Bards.
This is growing very quickly.
Has to be called the Bards College, I think.
Will we count?
There we
Will we
go.
count Screamo?
You might want to contact Roper as
would.
well because he is in school for audio engineering, I believe. So he does
Wait.
the music.
Hey, we got the whole crew.
Did not know
He's
that.
gonna be the next Skrillex.
Whoa, whoa.
And also Athwaller is a musician as well. He plays the violin. It's very beautiful.
I doubt he has good lungs.
Wait, good lungs?
He has
need to
definitely
have
supplied
a
me
play
with
the
some. He supplied me with some demos, his SoundCloud demos in the past.
Was it
He
mixed
can't do
by?
it.
Get with the times, all right.
When are you guys
They're
going on tour?
mixtapes now, not demos.
Me and Athwell. Tomorrow, actually, yeah. It's definitely happening.
Right. You guys have till next week's Fireside to present us.
Okay. Oh, I just remembered. I'm looking over at the preview and the stream. So I did add the what do you call it? It's like a Discord overlay, so people can see who is talking now. So that'll be on all the streams now, so you can actually tell who is talking. Because I know there's a previous request, and I couldn't get it to work. I finally found out why. It's because the Discord overlay can only be set up on Google Chrome. It doesn't work on Firefox. Doesn't work on Internet Explorer. Nothing but Chrome.
Ah, so you admit Google Chrome is the superior service.
I mean,
That's my. He's
for-
stealing my trademark words, Pato.
for this extremely specific purpose, it clearly is. Yes.
Superior spyware.
So hopefully that will help people watching or watching VODs or whatever, knowing who's talking, especially if you don't know voices. Especially if we get like a lot of people in here, then it kind of gets confusing. But yeah. Oh, and I guess the other big thing is I'm kind of like testing this, I guess, but I made it so any of the players' roles that have a channel for them, like a text channel for themselves already, you can't mention those roles. You just can ping at everyone and at here in the game channel, which allows people to mute the at everyone and at here ping so they don't get those, but they're still in the game channel. So it was something kind of, I think, at least like 4 or 5 people that talked to me in the past about, and I don't know, I guess I've just been thinking about it a while, and I wanted to give it a try. I know some people don't like it because it's also really easy to do the role pings. It's sort of just like a this or that question. If we do get walk back this change, another option is to create a second, like for example, Warframe players, right? We can make a second Warframe players role, and I don't know what it would be called, but it would be like muted Warframe players. And then those players would have access, or people with that role would have access to the Warframe channel, but they wouldn't get pinged because, for example, Pato would ping Warframe players, and those people wouldn't get pinged for it. So that is another option. It's all just kind of weird working around the fact that Discord hasn't integrated being able to mute role pings, although I hear talk that could be on the way, so that'd be pretty nice. But in the meantime, I at least wanted to try this because we've never tried it before. So we'll kind of see how it goes. But yeah, if there is a player's role that already has a channel, then you just can ping at here or at everyone there.
Something not great about that is pretty often in the Crossier's Composers chat, we've been pinging LoL players and looking for games in there, but it wouldn't be pretty cool to at here or everyone in there for the people that don't play LoL now.
It's very true, yeah, and I mean that's it's sort of a drawback. I think it comes a little bit also out of the fact that we are moving warbands into being game specific, so then it's sort of like, well, if you want to play League, do you ping in Kvasir's or do you ping in the League of Legends chat? And myself, I would think I would rather Kvasir's actually, just to push warbands further and make them more useful, but. Yeah, no, at the very least, I wanted to give this a trial run and see how it goes.
I guess there's actually only like a single person in the chat that doesn't play League, and that's for
In Kvasir's?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess you could ping Kvasir's. I mean, those are still mentionable.
That's true.
But yeah, that doesn't really filter out by who plays League and who doesn't. Especially that wouldn't work so much in warbands like that play multiple games, where it's a lot of like, oh, a third of the warband plays this, a third plays that, and then that wouldn't really work. But yeah, no, I think it's sort of a trade-off either way. But anyway, like I said, I thought we'd just give this a go for a little bit of time, see how it works. And all the players' roles that don't have a game channel are still mentionable. Oh, and if you are a Huskarl or above, you can go into the player's role and edit it and make it mentionable, and then mention them and then switch it back if you want to just like one-off mention them. It's a little bit of work for just a single ping, but that is an option.
Maybe the effort it requires will keep people from spamming it.
Could be, yeah. But I don't know, it's just kind of a thought that occurred to me because there's one day I was getting a lot of low players pings, and I don't mind the pings. I wouldn't mute them regardless, but it kind of made me realize, I guess, a little bit more people who might be bothered by it. But yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, you either have the role or you don't. So if you or if this doesn't work out, like I said, we'll look at adding a second role, where, say, you can be in the League of Legends chat, maybe, but you don't necessarily get pinged for it, or else we'll just wait, and maybe Discord will come out with that change where you can mute the role pings. Something like that. But yeah, I think that was the only real administrative move we've had in quite a while. I'll give a slight spoiler for Yule coming up. We're about a little over 3 weeks out. Secret Odin at Roz running with Kusi's help, I believe. Still going on. So that'll be fun. I'm thinking, I believe our plan is to try to have like everyone in voice or a bunch of people in voice, and then like open up the gifts all at the same time while we're all talking, which would be pretty fun, I think. And also for Yule, I have like an announcement or two to make that will be pretty cool. So, watch out for that.
So, do we all get to sing in channel once we're assembled?
I guess if you really want to.
No, I veto it.
There's nothing to stop you, but
Can't
We
stop
need a
it.
Christmas carols night.
It's organic. You can't stop it.
Now's the time for a music bot for Christmas carols.
No, 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 no. No music bots. Don't be a little bitch.
you can't stop it, but I don't know. Participation will definitely not be mandatory. put it that way.
Get the bards to record some like festive WA music and just put it on loop in a channel somewhere.
I believe that there is a Yule song that Ricky has written somewhere.
Ooh.
Is there words or
No, it's just a tune, but he's not
Okay.
answering and
next
confirming this
next
because I'm pretty sure he
pentatonics?
was.
Here we go. Next pentatonic.
Not that I have written, that I have worked on.
We'll make
Oh,
words.
so it's not time.
No.
We'll finish it.
Well, I was gonna just like release it on December 1st, but that's cool, I guess.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was already posted somewhere. Oops.
Hey, we've already got like snow names and Santa hats in our avatars, so it's never too early. Well, that's kind of all I had to talk about. Anybody have anything else they want to bring up? We'll have to jump to Pato with his Ragnarok dissertation at the end, but before that, anybody else?
Guess
Nope.
not.
Usually this is the time where Rand mentions something and then we go into a half-hour discussion.
Well, do you have anything,
I don't-
Rand?
No, he's been working on this diligently, so I'm ready to hear it.
All right. Well, if you want to stick around for some Ragnarok refresher talk, in-depth analysis.
I don't know if
do
it's
so.
analysis. It's more like, you know, what is the Ragnarok kind of thing.
Well, anyway, it's going to be cool. So, the floor is yours.
Okay. This is written ahead of time, so if you guys wouldn't mind, you know, not interrupting, add attention, all that, it'd be great.
Ooh, bringing it back.
Sure.
But we do have add attention in the handbook.
Yes.
All right, let me just put myself on not push to talk. All right, testing 1 2. All right, here we go. Okay, so the Ragnarok. What is the Ragnarok? In this case, I'm not referring to the great cataclysm foretold by the ancient Norse, in which many of the gods lose their lives in a great battle, and the subsequent destruction of our world as we know it. No, the Ragnarok I'm talking about today is one of the earliest and biggest challenges that the warriors of Aesir ever faced. It would be no exaggeration when I say that it could very well have ended the clan just as it was getting off the ground. The Ragnarok is an event that took place on January 7th, 2002. It was a major rebellion led by a troubled member of WA named Excal. Many, if not most, of the clan members either joined enemy clans, sided with antagonist factions within WA that traitor, or simply were lost within the chaos and confusion of the events. So what exactly happened? A handful of incidents led up to the events of the Ragnarok. First was Aquilius's ultimatum. Aquilius was a friend and mentor to Dane, and he gave the Allfather a difficult decision in August of 2001. Either ban Camander, another key member of WA during this period, or he himself would lead. Dane ended up picking his friend Aquilius and banned Camander for a time. Following this unfortunate business, in November, Dane began to censor the message boards by removing profanity and offensive posts, turning a high-ranking member named Target and the rest of the leadership against him. During this time, Aquilius left to create a rebel clan named the Sons of Eternity. Excal, a founding member of WA, also left to join him. This got Excal banned from WA. When Camander finally tried to return from his exile months later, Dane wanted to bring him back on board, but the council refused. Meanwhile, Excal was unbanned by the higher-up. So Dane, finding this incredibly unfair, began to spam the WA message boards in protest, which ended up with him being banned as well. Over the course of several months leading up to January 7th, 2002, key figures like Target, Phoenix, and Warrior departed from the clan, which left WA spiraling into chaos and making it a prime target for the events to come. All this led up to that faithful day 17 years ago, when Excal had recently come back from being banned. This was the start of the Ragnarok. Once his banishment was lifted, he orchestrated a large-scale coup against WA with the assistance of other members. He corrupted the hearts of fellow warriors and pitted them against one another. He gained access to the Warriors of Aesir website and made it redirect porn, effectively stealing the domain. Meanwhile, members Neo and Derelith, who had been corrupted by Excal, banned everyone from the clan channels on StarCraft and proclaimed that WA was dead. Without a platform of communication to unite the members of the clan, everything fell into a state of disarray. Even loyal members of WA had a hard time, especially when you consider it was the early 2000s and they didn't have access to the modern internet and gaming infrastructure communication that we enjoy today. Many members betrayed WA to join enemy clans like the Asgard Warriors, while others also took it as a chance to leave altogether. This went on for months until the Warriors of Aesir only had 5 members left, who had access to a secret emergency forum that Dane had created. Those 5 members were Dane, Commander, Peter, Varsus, and Dippity Dog. Of these, Commander and Peter betrayed the rest and left to farm the rebel clan armed forces, leaving only Lord Dane the Proud, Varsus of Old, and Saint Dippity Dog. After Dane was grounded for a whole month in real life, he set out to create Hope's Last Stand with his 2 remaining allies to exact revenge. It is worth noting that Saint Loki was recruited right before the Ragnarok and was lost during the upheaval. He only came back later during the Second Fleet era, when he became a prominent figure in WA. The events of the Ragnarok and the founding of Hope's Last Stand marked the end of the First Fleet era, and what followed were several months of constant war with outside forces. During this, Saint Sanctifico the Conqueror was recruited and largely took over the fight when Varsus and Dippity faded into the background. Sanctifico was able to defeat the armed forces rebels and several other clans that had insulted WA and Hope's Last Stand. Finally, after a whole year of war inside and out, the Warriors of Aesir re-emerged victorious on the other side of this great conflict, stronger than ever. Saint Loki convinced Dane to reforge the clan, thus starting the Second Fleet era. So how did this affect WA? Well, we owe our current clan's existence to the efforts of those great individuals that fought tooth and nail to keep the Warriors of Aesir alive. Many of them are honored Einherjar, and you'd be hard-pressed to find a codex entry of these old members that doesn't mention the Ragnarok in one way or another. The event hardened those same members to the conflicts and turmoil that the future had in store for them, and we in turn learned from the mistakes that were made, and I would like to think that the current leadership strives to avoid such major catastrophe, in large part because we know what can happen if we don't put the effort in to listen to our members and hear both sides of the story. So when you hear one of our older members jokingly mention the Ragnarok and a coup when there's drama within the clan, know that they're referring to this series of events that helped shape what this clan is today. Thank you.
Clap.
Yeah, if you're gonna do that,
Good job.
Christ.
I've been working on that for 2 weeks.
How many times did you have to look at the mirror and read it to yourself, Pato?
I had a lot of help from Vest.
It's fun. I don't know. I think some people, they message me like lore related questions or something, and they're like, "Oh, I hate to intrude," but I love talking about it. Like you have to tell me to stop, So happy to do it. Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, thank you. It was actually a lot of fun to make. I learned a lot of things, and it was fun practicing it.
Cool. Well, yeah, and once again, I just want to say, for Rand for coming up with the idea of having these in Fireside, I think it's an awesome idea. It's super cool. And I haven't had to talk about one. Like I said, I always have stuff prepared for if we don't get one. We've always had one, so.
Nice delegation.
And we'll have another one ready for next Fireside.
It better not be me again.
Oh.
Wait,
Oh, shoot.
are we picking? Do we have to pick the next guy? Does Pato get to pick?
No, Rand should throw the ball over to Solite and have one of his Huskarls.
What if we just roll a dice and if it lands on
this-
one, it's
I want this
Pato?
done right.
Oh.
Yikes. Jesus H. Christ. I know of
Wow.
fucking places in California that haven't been burned that bad.
Ragnarok 2.0.
3.0.
Hey, I get that now.
Haha.
Well, that was sort of the concluding portion of the Fireside. So I guess we'll probably stop the stream then, unless anybody has anything else they want to talk about. I'm guessing not, since nobody had anything before Pados. But yeah, thank you, Pato. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Thank you, everybody, watching the stream and or the VOD. We'll see you next week, and again, it will be an hour earlier next week, so 4 p.m. PST, just for next week. So, see you then.